Hey guys, in this video we're going to talk about everything we know about the second episode of Season 2 of House of the Dragon. If you look closely, you will notice that Rhaenyra has a bandage on her hand and a bruise on her left cheek. Why? What happened to Rhaenyra, you might wonder. Rhaenyra survived an assassination attempt that will happen in Season 2, orchestrated by King Aegon and Criston Cole. Ser Auric is coming for revenge against Queen Rhaenyra on King Aegon's and Criston Cole's orders. He's pretending to be his twin brother Eric, who serves in Rhaenyra's Queensguard, but while he manages to lightly injure Rhaenyra, cutting her hand and bruising her face, his twin brother recognizes him and fights him to the death. Aegon wants revenge for Rhaenyra's revenge, and it's a never-ending circle. King Aegon and Ser Criston, the Lord Commander of Aegon's Kingsguard, will order Auric to infiltrate Dragonstone, pretending to be his twin Eric. For free, you can now listen to the entire audiobook FireAndBlood, on which House of the Dragon is based and which covers the entire Targaryen history, including current and future events of House of the Dragon, for free with a notable trial using our link in the description. It's disputed in histories whether his mission was to kill Rhaenyra, or her children, or perhaps all of them. But whichever it was, Auric does not take the mission happily, not only because he expected to face his brother there, but also because he thinks this is dishonorable for a knight. Auric will arrive on the island disguised as a fisherman, whereupon he will change to his Kingsguard armor and white cloak, and will easily enter the castle, because he looks exactly the same as his brother Eric now, who serves as Queensguard to Rhaenyra. Just as Auric is making his way to the royal apartments, and comes so close to Rhaenyra and her kids, he's seen by Eric, who immediately understands why his twin is there. Auric starts running to the queen, but before he can kill Rhaenyra or her kids, Eric stops him and the two fight to the death. In my opinion, Auric is definitely sent to kill one of Rhaenyra's sons as a revenge for Aegon's son, and Rhaenyra will do exactly what Catelyn Stark did in Season 1 of Game of Thrones when Assassin was sent for Bran Stark. She will defend her son and get a few injuries in the process. Catelyn and her son were then saved by Direwolf, while Rhaenyra and her son will be saved by their sworn protector Eric. Accounts of the fight that followed greatly differ in the written histories, but the outcome in all of them is the same. Both twins Auric and Eric will die. Septon Eustace's writings simply state that the Cargill twins slew each other, no more details given. According to Westerosi singers, the brothers professed their love for each other as they drew their swords. Grand Maester Muncan writes that Eric and Auric battled for most of an hour. The noise of the fight woke half of Rhaenyra's court, and more guards arrived quickly, but they could only watch, as none could tell which twin was which, and therefore did not know which twin to attack or kill. In the end, Grand Maester Muncan writes that Auric and Eric mortally wounded each other, and died in each other's arms crying. Finally, we have one more account of the assassination attempt and fight, the one from the testimony of Mushroom, according to which the fight lasted only a couple of moments, and the brothers did not declare their love, but rather called each other traitor. Eric struck the first mortal blow, nearly cutting off Auric's arm at the shoulder. As Auric collapsed, he grabbed Eric's cloak and pulled him to himself, stabbing him in the belly with a dagger. According to Mushroom, Auric was dead before anyone found him, but Eric took 4 days to die from his gut wound, screaming in pain and cursing his brother the whole time until his death. Many songs have been written about the Cargill twins and their fight, including Farewell My Brother, a sad ballad which is still sung to this day across Westeros. Over 170 years later, in Game of Thrones, even young Bran Stark recalls the stories of several legendary members of the Kingsguard, including the twins Ser Eric and Ser Auric, and how they killed each other during the Dance of the Dragons. Aegon loved his son, and his reaction to it in episode 2 is devastating, as we can see. Upon hearing the news, we see Aegon smashing up his father Viserys' model of old Valyria, furious and sad at the same time as he yells traitors and villains. He also yells a series of insults aimed at Rhaenyra. Aegon will also scream "I would kill them all" while crying, and killing he will do in episode 2. Before orchestrating an attempt on Rhaenyra's life, Aegon and the Greens will first catch Blood, one of the assassins who killed his son, and exercise his revenge and justice on him himself with a mace. Blood and Cheese fled through the secret passages with the prince's head in hand, attempting to bring Jaehaerys' head to Daemon and collect the reward, but Blood will be seized. As we can see, Aegon will have his revenge and execute Blood, but not before torturing him and extracting information that Daemon sent them. As for the other assassin Cheese, he is not found, so in response Aegon will order hanging of all of the King's Landing ratcatchers, which is also seen in one of the promos. Meanwhile at Dragonstone, if you expected Rhaenyra to be happy about a son for a son revenge, you're wrong. Rhaenyra wanted Aemond dead, not young Prince Jaehaerys, and she will have a heated argument with Daemon about it. Rhaenyra will blame Daemon for Jaehaerys' death and say she did not order it. Rhaenyra will even shout at Daemon saying, "You have weakened my claim to the Iron Throne." At one point, as we could see in one promo, Daemon will lose temper. There will be cracks in their relationship. Daemon feels like he cannot trust Rhaenyra to see through her grief and become the ruler she was meant to be, while she cannot see past Daemon's violent and erratic nature. At one point, Rhaenyra will cry and ask Daemon if he even accepts her as his queen. At King's Landing, the Greens will have a funeral procession through the capital for Jaehaerys, and someone will shout, "Behold the work of Rhaenyra the Cruel." King Aegon will hold a small council, or you could call it a war meeting in which he will say, "I want revenge." Aegon is feeling everything right now. He's furious, sad and impatient. Aegon then says, "I wish to spill blood, not ink," which is aimed to his grandfather and his hand Otto, who is spending time spilling ink and sending ravens instead of planning battles and spilling blood. Aegon will fire Otto as his hand of the king and instead appoint the Lord Commander of his Kingsguard, Criston Cole, as his new hand of the king. We could see from trailers that Cole was made to this position, but we didn't know when it would happen, which now we do. Criston will immediately start to plan battles, wars and assassination attempts of their own against Rhaenyra. Before all of this happens, Aegon also confronted Criston about not being there for his son, saying, "And where were you, supposed to be protecting my family?" Throughout episode 2, Criston is going to struggle with guilt because, in his opinion, he should have been there standing guard, but was with Alicent instead. Aegon will want to attack Dragonstone to avenge his son's death, but Sir Criston Cole instead suggests sending Sir Auric Cargyll to infiltrate the castle. This Auric's mission, which he will have in Season 2, of him posing as his brother Eric to kill Rhaenyra or her son, has been foreshadowed in Season 1, with a few scenes in which characters like Alicent Hightower could not recognize which brother is which, and calling one by the name of the other. In Season 1, there's a scene in which Auric stands guard at a meeting of the Small Council. Afterward, his brother Eric approaches Queen Alicent Hightower, after a meeting of the Small Council, to inform her of an incident with the servant girl Diana in Prince Aegon's chambers. She briefly mistakes him for his brother Auric, to which he corrects her. And it's not only the characters on the show that cannot tell the twin brothers apart, but us viewers as well. Here's one fun fact from behind the scenes. During a Black Council scene in the Black Queen episode, Eric was briefly played and acted by his twin brother, who plays Auric, as the brother who normally plays Eric was sick at a time. In episode 2, Daemon will conquer Harrenhal for Rhaenyra at night during a thunderstorm, with only his dragon Xerxes. Daemon mentioned in Season 1 that the Riverlands are key in this war, and that Harrenhal is the key to the Riverlands, something the Greens also figured out in the Season 2 premiere. Harrenhal is seen as a rallying point for supporters in the Riverlands. The experienced Daemon will capture Harrenhal from its castellan Sir Simon Strong without conflict, by landing Xerxes on top of Kingspire Tower where Harren the Black had died. Recalling the burning of Harrenhal by Aegon the Conqueror and Balerion, Simon Strong will decide to strike his banners and surrender the Great Ruined Castle to Daemon. Simon Strong is a new character and he is the great uncle to Lord Larys and Castellan of Harrenhal. Daemon's victory will allow the Riverlands to rise up in support of Rhaenyra. Later, when he speaks to Simon Strong and other people inside the castle, and as we could hear in promos, Daemon will say, "I did not think they would be so eager to die," and add to it, perhaps the presence of the dragon will sharpen minds around these parts. Daemon will stay at Harrenhal for most of Season 2 and will confront a few houses in the Riverlands with Xerxes, such as the Brackens. During his stay at Harrenhal, Daemon will also meet Alice Rivers, a new character who's a healer working in the service of House Strong, and also a bastard born from that house. Alice can see visions of the future and she's considered a witch queen by some. I'm really looking forward to her scenes with Daemon. In episode 2, we also know Aemond is going to visit a brothel madam in a very odd scene, where he shows his true colors instead of the bad guy persona he's so eager to portray, and just wants to be cuddled by her. And that is how episode 2 will look. In conclusion, the next episode will be epic, and one cannot wait for Sunday. Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below and stay tuned for more videos. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a big thumbs up, and I hope to see you in the next one.